The Match Ball.
Hello there. Welcome to the show. It's Dan here with Michael and Chris Mack as we do the Match Ball for the QPR victory for the mighty Leeds United. We are streaming live on YouTube for our TSB Plus members. You can watch the show later and listen in your podcast app as well. It's brought to you in association with Levi Solicitors. Michael, you enjoying November so far? The post-month party. It's a post-month party. It's still going on in many ways.
Yeah, it's a bit of a downturn, though, isn't it, after the 15% glory days of the birthday month celebrations. But yeah, still 10% off your legal fees, which is so good.
Where can people find this incredible 10% off your legal fees?
LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the-square-ball.
Yeah, any services you want to mention?
Just what's probate conveyancing.
Just sticking to the big three.
3 o'clock Saturday kickoff. Let's keep it traditional.
Very good. Nice. I like
the big three.
Play the hits.
Exactly.
And let's segue straight into the big three talking points from that. I've only made one, actually. In fact, this can be merged with the Dickhead Ref feature. So I'm going to take the big three caption off the screen. There it goes. Kiss it goodbye. And I'm going to add the Dickhead Ref, because that's my first of the big three. The Dickhead Ref was a dickhead.
Weirdly, in a game where actually there's not really anything going on, he stood out, didn't he?
It was an inoffensive game of football, but he was rather offensive.
I thought anytime a game of football threatened to break out, he whistled. And this is not us griping about his bad performance for just us. He was just shit. It's terrible performance.
Really bad.
Just the lightest touch of everything. Like, Sam Byram's booking in the first half. That was right in front of me. No way on earth. It was like, was that a booking? You could see the delay in the guy going down, and then ref just pulled out a yellow. What are you doing, you mad fucker?
There were loads of bits like that where
Terrible.
people just went down in installments, and he was like, fine, have a free kick. It just felt like he didn't have any spirit in him to deny people free kicks. If anyone asked for one, he was like, yeah, why not?
He seemed to just give loads of free kicks that he was on the blind side of as well. So somebody would go down in front of him, but with their back to the ref, and I just have it.
Yeah.
Just have it. There's clearly been something happen, Chris.
There was some that he gave, and it was maybe 5 yards from the touchline, and the linesman hadn't flagged at all. He hadn't done his, the panicked, there's a free kick over here, ref. And he still gave it. He was giving free kicks that the man closer to him was just like, whatever.
You decide.
The one, I don't know exactly which minute it was, because I sometimes minute my notes that I've made, but 49 minutes, I've big pull on Tanaka, no yellow. That was one note. The next note says something libelous about the linesman in front of the East Stand.
Are you going to repeat that, or should we just keep that between ourselves?
If you're a subscriber, you might hear it in the extra time bit.
Yeah.
But the first bit is fat.
Right.
He was very pleased with himself, that linesman in front of the East Stand. There was a bit late on where he gave a decision to us, and everyone like, "Way," and he was sort of going, "Yeah," like laughing along. And I thought, it's not about you.
It's not your job.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Just shut up.
Right, so let's figure out what the other two of the big three are. Do you want to talk about Pirro? Do you want to talk about Bogle? Or do you want to talk about the absence of Junior Firpo?
Nah, we'll come on to that later.
Yeah.
Fine.
It was stupid, wasn't
It didn't matter today, did it?
Well, okay then. Let's make one of the big three a question, and we'll come to it probably second. But QPR's approach to that game. But I want to talk about our approach to that game and the feeling inside the ground. Because my mum texted me at one point in that second half. She said, watching it here, it feels a little bit tense. Did it feel tense to you in the stadium in that second half? Or was it more of a sort of a quiet, simmering frustration? It was somewhere between the two for me. I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
Felt like being in a train station a lot of the time. Just like a low hubbub of noise, but no one's really focusing on any one thing.
Right.
Yeah, there was not a lot of stress. They got at one point the ball ended up on the roof of the net from an attack, and there was a bit where was it even the same one where we basically passed it to them, and there was danger, but they were creating nothing at all really.
No,
so it was weird.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask about their approach as well. And maybe it's the same point, but looking at it from two different angles, because they were trying to pass it, and they were trying to pass it out from the back. Except they could only do that so far before it broke down because they didn't have players of the sufficient quality to turn it into an attack. So often they do that sort of pass out from the back and then just end up humping it down the field, just boot it up the other end, and then we'd recycle it and then just carry on playing. And it felt like, if you look at the stats for it, the stats would suggest we had total control of that game. And yet we never, I suppose we didn't finish it off, did we, just by being just the one in front. But Yeah, I found their approach intriguing. I think with better players in that side, yeah, you could see why it might work, and you could see maybe at the back end of last season, because I think that my thinking was being informed a little bit by that. Thinking, what was it that they did to us at the end of last season? And will we see any of it today? Will they be able to upset us? And I could see they would do some little tidy passages of play, but without any penetration whatsoever. So it made it it was a bit of a boring spectacle. So they tried a bit, but even still, it didn't work.
It almost makes that 4-0 weirder at the end of last season. How did it happen?
Total system failure. Just happens sometimes, especially late in the season like that. I do think your man Cifuentes is an all right coach. He seems like he sort of got a bit about him. I do think, though, that we tend to drop our game to the other team's level at times, rather than, I don't want to mention a certain person who used to manage Leeds United and get shouted at, but we played the same way every week.
You can say Jesse Marsh, it's fine.
we did
play the same every week.
And conceded the back post. And tried to just go hammer and tongs at it. Whereas today, and even especially in the second half last week, it just felt like we'd done enough, so why do any more? And fair enough if it works, but it's a little bit uninspiring at times. Is that ungrateful to say?
No, it is, because it is uninspiring, as in it is not ungrateful.
Yeah,
I think it's fair enough, because I've been in Ellen Road for a 2-0 against QPR under Grayson, which felt electrifying. Do you remember the first season up, and they were top of the league and we beat them, and it was like something was happening. Today we beat QPR and it was just 2-0, and
it feels like
that's fine.
I made peace with the idea today that we're going to go through this season basically being bored for a large stretch of it, and only when there is some serious jeopardy the other side of Christmas and we know what the table's going to look like, will we start to perhaps feel deeper emotions about this. In the meantime, it's just because I left the ground and thinking it's just another 3 that we needed on the way to promotion.
Exactly how I feel.
Wasn't a lot of fun, but equally nothing wrong with it either.
And equally as well, if that's the second to last game of the season and we're a point clear at the top, that last 10 minutes is really tense. And when Gilivogi gives the ball away, everyone's going, fucking hell! And they're getting really stressed about it. Whereas as it was, it felt a bit like, it'd be fine.
I mean, good on
everyone was kind of all right with it.
Good on Tanaka for trying to make it interesting with that crossfield pass. I enjoyed that.
Generational, as you've said.
Yeah, there was a point in that second half when I said to my dad, it must be about maybe 63 minutes-ish, I said, I just want something to happen. But I realised that it slipped out of my mouth at the exact moment that they'd got one of their many free kicks on the far side, over on our left-hand side. They're right by their fans. And I was pleading for something to happen when they were on the attack. I think I kind of zoned out just a little bit and not realised what I was asking to happen. My dad just went, careful. So, yeah, it was a strange old one at Ellen Road. Yeah, but yeah, it was another cog in the machine that
the thing is, we had 2-0 looks fairly unconvincing, but we
had total control.
We had complete control. We should have had more goals, shouldn't we? Like, Aronson hit the bar in the first half.
Well, let me say, momentum graph is all us, barring a few little dips to them.
It really was.
Stats-wise, XG, we've done 2.42 to their 0.34, 21 shots to their 5, 4 big chances to their none. It was a dominant performance yet again, so it's hard to find any complaints, really. We did sort of 2 or 3 times the passes they did. It was all us. 21 shots, 4 off target, 6 on target. They had none on target. Disallowed
goal again.
Yep. Which was definitely onside.
I could tell from the far end of the ground it was definitely onside.
Even though you were 90 degrees to it.
Exactly. It's the best angle. Is this from the far end and not looking along the line.
I didn't know it was offside at all. Like that's down my end of the ground. I just assumed it was onside. I didn't think, I don't know, Sam Byram has the pace.
He was offside a lot, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Byram today. It must have been 4 times or something. He was offside.
I think given Junior Firpo's suspension on the morning of this match, we can put that down as an FA and EFL conspiracy.
Didn't work though, did it?
No.
The thing is, Byram's fine. We know Byram's absolutely adequate as a left back. I have no real concerns about him starting.
Do you know what, as a rule today, like I keep thinking about Byram, just when you think he's probably hit his limitations of his footballing ability, he'll pull something out of the bag that's really quite neat and tidy, and you go, good feet, good footwork, well done.
He's a good player.
He's a good footballer.
He's a really good player.
We're very blessed to have that as our backup fullback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Schmidt, who came off the bench as well, only a short cameo. I thought he looked quite exciting.
Yeah, I felt like it was the first time we've actually seen him touch the ball.
Yeah. He didn't look too bad on the wing either.
No, it looked good. I was quite pleased with that. Admittedly, it was late on and what have you, but yeah, I thought it looked pretty tidy because I feel like he has obviously come on before, but he must have had more touches today than he's had in his Leeds career to this point, I would say.
They haven't given it to him, but it did sort of look like it was his assist for the goal. They kind of bundled it through.
He was the last player.
It's hard to give it as an assist.
He was the last Leeds player to touch it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Whether that's enough for an assist, I'm not sure. But he made something happen.
Should we go back to the start and go to the 1-0 goal? Because we wanted to score early. It was one of the things I think we talked about in the build-up to this. That's what helps Leeds to win football matches, getting in front early. I think it tends to diffuse the nerves in the ground, although they did creep back in the second half. And a beautiful early goal. Just so much precision passing, beautiful footwork, accurate. You know what I'm going with this. It was a Sunday League goal and it was fucking great.
Football League heritage.
Yeah. It was a proper champo. It was a Sunday League goal, yeah.
It reminded me of the goal that Luke Ayling scored against Bristol City on that run that sort of took us to promotion, where I think there's like 5 shots and they're just like, right, everyone get out of the way. I'm just going to smash this into the net and that'll do us. Yeah,
it was pretty scrambly, wasn't it? But it was fine.
It was fun.
We're in the champo. Let's score some champo goals.
Because I made a series of noises. Like, just put it in.
Yeah, you're expecting it to go in 2 or 3 times, aren't you, before? Because it was kind of bobbling around. I think Joseph had the shot before it comes to Bogle.
Yeah, he swung at it and he didn't quite connect.
That kind of looked like a good chance. And
I think it was Solomon that took it. It should have gone. He should have left it for Nanto, who was at the back post.
Yes, that was the initial bit, wasn't it?
He was quite annoyed about that.
Yeah, but then Bogle eventually put it in via the bar, so he did his best to miss it almost. But he ended up with man of the match, did Bogle, on FOTMob, so their algorithm has given him 8.8 out of 10 as star performer. Would you agree with that? I would lean towards Rothwell, who hasn't in any way been given the highest numbers by FOTMob, but I thought he was excellent today.
It's hard. I don't know if I'd struggle to pick him out of the match.
I mean, FOTMob is just a computer.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually at the game, so
yeah.
you don't have to stick with that. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
from looking at that, I actually thought Brendan Aronson was very busy and had a lot of involvement. He's been given a 6.8 on SofaScore.
I feel like Aronson, maybe his final ball wasn't great, but he occupied people a lot, and he's difficult to play against, isn't he?
I think he gets marked down because he tends to, so he's only won 4 out of 14 ground duels, but that's not really his forte. It's not his job in this side, because he loses the ball quite a bit as well, but that's, I think, by virtue of how he tries to play, which is running at people and being quite direct. So, I thought he was good today as well.
I thought he was decent. I thought it was...
Even though he's American, I mean...
Oh, I forgot. No, he's terrible, yeah. Absolutely awful. I thought Strauch and Rodon, it's hard to say again because it was quite a comfortable game for them, but they looked well. They looked like to have it under control the entire game, didn't they? Which it's the thing with centre backs is you don't kind of notice them playing well for the most part, do you? In a game where you just go, well, we're better than them, but you can make it look difficult as well if you let someone get the better of you. So it felt very firmly under control from those two.
Yeah, I thought Bogle, to go back to that point, played really well, doing the things that we like him doing, but he also felt like he was quite out of position for one towards the end where they got in behind.
Yeah. When he committed himself, he pushed on, didn't he?
Him and Dan James were stood within about a yard of each other, weren't they? Yeah. And that really obvious ball, and so no one tracked the runner. I think it was number 28.
It was just Bogle pressed someone who wasn't his man, and then they just knocked it into the big space that he'd left. Was the problem there? It just wasn't necessary at that point in the game, I suppose. But I don't think anything came of it. I don't think they even got a chance out of it, did they?
I think, was that the one where they crossed it and it went straight to Bellier?
That was
positioned himself quite well. Got off the cross.
Yeah, he just cut it out the near post, didn't he? So it was fine in the end.
Lammy is advocating for Brendan Aronson, says, I thought Aronson today, but then I'm pissed. So
it's all right. It's a decent way to watch it.
Doesn't hinder your judgment.
Keeps the game interesting. I don't disagree with it, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, the Bera Moretti YouTube picture is on point.
Oh yes, of course. Who else played well? Nonso and Solomon didn't have great games, I didn't think. If we're getting into the rest of the forward line, Joseph didn't do much.
I thought Joseph did well to stretch them, and I do think it probably vindicates starting him in games like that where there's not a huge amount of space. He just occupies defenders a little bit more than Perro does. Perro's like a big, American bear. Like he's sort of it's easier to know what he's going to do, but Joseph's just got pace and runs and runs and runs.
Yeah,
to use a Gary Rowett phrase from the other night, it keeps them honest.
right. Yeah, no, good.
It does. They
Yeah,
have to
I'm
be like,
really,
no.
what I was really pleased about was being reminded of that.
It's nice to know that they've got honest centre backs.
Yeah,
That's what I like to know.
Yeah.
But just to know, like, I'm going to have to follow him here.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit of a pain in the ass as a centre back to be like, oh, here he is trying to get him behind me again. I'm going to have to follow him. But no, he did all right on that front. But
yeah, and I agree with your point on this, Chris. And we were chatting before. I said you wonder if maybe they should have done this the other way around, where Joseph starts midweek to bounce off a load of Millwall centre backs, and then you put in Pirro for that one that needed somebody to unlock it perhaps in the second half. But that's probably just with the way that the game unfolded, because we couldn't get that second goal.
Yeah,
it just made it a little bit more tense than it had to be. But I agree with your position on this, in that it's great for Pirro just to come off the bench, keep his legs fresh, and then he just goes and tucks one in like that, which he took really, really well. I want to say, what a great finish that was.
he can do that. We say every time he scores, and he always seems to score from a same sort of position, the same sort of finish, and he's the best person at that.
The minute the ball fell to his feet, you're like, that's 2-0.
Mm.
It's not even like, go on. It's like, all right, okay. You've seen it. Nearly every goal he scores is like that, where he's just in the right place, right time, and he puts it in. He's a brilliant finisher.
He turned the defender really well. He rolled him just to get into that space and get in behind them. And actually, that angle's slightly more acute than you realise.
Are you going to confess that you've been doing a Dutch accent now ever since we came in the office?
Why would you chuck me under the bus like this, Michael?
Because you were so pleased with this finish.
It was super. It was a great finish. I'm absolutely baked.
Just looking at their team.
What was? You've got to realise. Now you've thrown me under the bus with that one. You've got to deliver the line that you said to us in here, which I said, say that on the podcast about the album.
Oh, just because you were saying he always looks.
If you look, there's one photo I found on the photo agency, and he looks absolutely baked.
His eyes are sort of. It's not a good photo, but I was saying it might be like those musicians who did a full album and don't remember it. He might not remember our promotion this season if we go up. Someone will tell him about it years later and he'll, it was this medal. I don't know why I've got this for.
What happened, guys? Oh, it was super.
How old do you think Steve Cook is, by the way, who plays for them? The guy who was at Bournemouth, etc.
43.
That's what I thought. He's 33 years old.
Who is, sorry?
Steve Cook, who was been centre back for them. He's the same guy who was at Bournemouth like forever. He's only 33.
Really?
I'm amazed he's not at least 37.
Right.
He's got no right to be that young.
People might say that about you, though. They hear the stuff you talk about. So how can he only be 40? He sounds like he's about 65.
He's not playing centre-back for QPR.
This is true.
He could do. I believe in you.
Am I younger than Ronaldo? I don't know. It's not a comparison I want to make. Anyway, Steve Cook's should be older. That's all I'm saying. Fake passport.
Can we have a chat then about that low-key, simmering, slight discontent? It's not out-and-out mutiny, but it's never far from the surface, just in terms of Daniel Farke and his influence in that game, because there was a point when it was 1-0 there, and I was thinking, just prior to that, come on, just make a change, just roll the dice, do something, give them something else to think about. And I dare say Dan James, for example, was rested because his hamstrings have been stretched a lot straight after injury, and he needs to be preserved. But I was just sort of willing him just to do something just different, just to mix it up, just to get the game won.
Are they not the exact subs at the exact minute you expected?
Yes.
Because of where I sit, I was sort of watching the touchline, and one of Farke's coaches made a gesture, which it looked like he was putting two hands up, which made me think 10, which is Pirro, right? And then Pirro ran up, I think it was 68 minutes and 4 seconds. So by the time he gets his bits and pieces ready,
his tape on his legs,
it's 70
Puts
minutes.
his pipe down.
What you
for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see why he did it, but you kind of go like, oh, it's this.
Yeah.
Fine.
With 5 subs in this day and age, it makes sense to make use of them in a long 46-game season. But there's just something missing. And I think people maybe do think that that's ungrateful, and maybe it is, but at the same time, like, when you get down to the bones of it, I'm paying the guts of £700 a year to watch Leeds play, and whenever it's vaguely entertaining, fine, but it's kind of hard to get. I think Ellen Road needs promotion to get that sense of excitement back.
We're beneath the baseline as people perceive it now, I think.
Yeah.
I think I said that was, which show did I say that on? We do too bloody many. But it was saying that, I think, it might have even been, we did the live show talk thing at Trinity University, it might have even been there, saying, I think, in agreement with that, Chris, that nobody's going to be vaguely happy until we get to about the level that Bielsa had us at, i.e. around mid-table in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's completely different circumstances though. Like we know that now. Like we've a huge wage bill, lots of players who are capable of getting Leeds promoted. We've been promoted. You know, we've been through it all now. Whereas 5 years ago, it was chasing something that for a time seemed like it was never going to happen again. So
Yeah,
it's like, I don't know. I feel a bit stupid. Like I still go to home games. I still enjoy it. Still love it. But it's like the bar in the Cheese Wedge was full at like 52 minutes, and it's never like, it's usually like a few stragglers. Anytime I'm very rarely there. I usually don't miss more than a minute. But I had a pint at half time, and I was just like, there's no real rush to go back up here because you sort of, you know what's coming, but or you know what's going to happen for the most part.
Yeah, I think with the subs as well, it's something that's been running for over a year now, where you can probably, regardless of game state, who's injured, who's scored, you can kind of say, well, the subs will be this at this time. And I don't know, it's maybe, I guess you could, if you're going to speak in Farke's favour, you can say, well, they plan these changes, and so the players know what's happening, and so then they know exactly which shape they're going to take on at this point. And if Pirro's going on with the instruction that you're going to come on then, and you know that you're going to play a little bit differently because you're going to do this, and and everyone's going to understand this, maybe there's an argument there. But it just feels sometimes a little bit like Football Manager, where you just go, who's getting below a 7, who's below 70% fitness, just take them off, put them on.
Let me just relay one of Daniel Farke's comments in the post-match press conference to you, and see if we can just pull that thread a bit further. This is a tweet from Adam Pope saying that Daniel Farke was pleased with the performance after the defeat in midweek. Again, felt Leeds were wasteful in front of goal. Started Solomon to give him minutes and confidence. Has asked to leave his comments on Firpo to the end of the press conference. Now, the bit I'm on about is the being wasteful in front of goal. I think it's fair to argue that we should have scored more than we did. We had the chances to do it. And therefore, if you do give yourself that degree of comfort, I suppose, by scoring more and scoring earlier, you then have the latitude to make subs earlier and give someone like Schmidt some more minutes, perhaps, or bring Pirro on a little bit earlier if that game is won and put to bed. But it never was at 1-0, was it? And it's very rare we feel like we're in a position where that's the case. But you saw it. It did start to move a little bit earlier. Was it against Plymouth when that game was won? His subs were slightly earlier.
Yeah, I should just qualify what I was just saying there. It's kind of completely redundant when it works, and it does nearly always work.
Like today, it works. Yeah.
It worked today, and it's probably just being a bit greedy. But
yeah, I mean, Damien's comment there, let me just point that out on the screen, saying, can't be getting on Farke's back today. We battered them, barely gave them a sniff. I don't think anyone's getting on his back because he is justified in doing it the way that he does it, because today we've won 2-0, haven't conceded a shot on target. But I think it is fair to say sometimes it is quite uninspiring, but that is the degree of control that Farke likes his football to exert on a game. Doesn't necessarily make it the most entertaining. I think part of it is down to the gap in ability in this division as well.
And I guess to go to the subs of the Plymouth game, in some ways the frustration sometimes comes, not in this one, because I guess at 1-0 we're in control still, but in games when we've not been in control or we've not been winning at the hour mark, if people are desperate for subs, we don't make them. But then in a game where we're comfortable, it's like, okay, now I'm gonna just rest people. So it's like it almost highlights the fact that he is aware he can make subs earlier, but he just chooses not to most weeks. And sometimes when you're not winning every week and you're not dominant, or you can see issues arising, and you're desperate for us to just do something else. But
and yet, as you say, entirely vindicated. I think there's a couple of people just mentioned in the comments, like somebody there saying, it's Mel JF saying, Farke's really on a hiding to nowhere with a lot of people, isn't he? Yeah, I think he is. I genuinely think he is. And it's not his fault. It's, but it's also, you can't deny that the stadium feels flat a lot of the time. And maybe that's down to the jeopardy. Maybe it's down to the way that teams set up against us in this league, the fact that they lack quality, and you almost know what a game's going to look like. Because one of the other comments here is, cheer up, lads, we won today. I feel great about that, but it wasn't a rip-roaring win in any way, was it? And you kind of go to football because you want to kind of come out and go, like that Leicester game last year where we went, wow, God, what's just happened there?
You don't come out like fizzing with adrenaline from this one, do you?
No.
You just sort of like, well, yeah, it was good.
And
we won.
Part
Good.
of it as well, and I was reflecting on this today with that god-awful refereeing performance, part of it is because so much physicality's gone out of the game and it's got so technical. So you don't get those blood and thunder tackles anymore either. Nobody puts a crunching tackle in on an attacker or a defender and you go, oh, go on, chucking an elbow around and someone's gone, but that's what gets you up for it.
Yeah.
And it's very, very kind of controlled and measured. And when you've got refs giving out free kicks and bookings for just the tiniest touch, it's almost like a bit more like a basketball match in that regard, isn't it? There's no physicality allowed.
We've got 4 pretty winnable games in our next 4 after this as well. So I think if you it might not be as rip roaring as it used to be, but I suppose if we play that game in our next 4, we're probably top of the league.
Yeah,
and comfortably inside the top 2, and people, myself included, will probably be a little bit happier at that point. It's just a little bit. At the minute,
well,
there's just a little something missing. But
it's as we were saying.
It's also 14 games into the season.
Exactly. It's as we were saying earlier, because there isn't the jeopardy there at the minute. It is it's a process of, right, we need another 3, we need another 3, we need another 3.
And you think of the pressure as well that goes along with this season and knowing that we should get up. Because basically everyone acknowledges, from every Leeds fan in the stadium to every manager in the division, it feels like it's a season where everyone has acknowledged that Leeds have got the best squad and should go up. We're speaking to not the top 20 guys next week, aren't we? They come on and they will say the same. You're going to go up.
Yeah.
Because you've got the best players. And we'll go, right, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And it makes it it's a bit weird, I suppose. Yeah. It creates a slightly weird atmosphere.
I was going to say, Mark's just saying in the comments there, it's because we're going to games now expecting to win every game. And we should, rightly so, because we are probably the best team in the division.
And you can look elsewhere in the division today, like Sunderland have been 2-0 up at home and ended up drawing. If we'd have done that, there'd have been a meltdown.
Yeah, absolute mayhem.
And I'd have been part of it. I'm not going to exclude myself from it. Let's be perfectly clear.
But Sunderland are still on that fairly distant upward curve with, it'd be brilliant to get to the Premier League. A little bit like Ipswich were last year. But as you were sort of saying there, Chris, because we've been there and fallen back out of it, we know we need to be there. We know we need to be there from a financial point of view. It's just a grind doing it, isn't it? A lot of the time. Look how unhappy Leicester's fans were last year.
Desperate last year.
And Sunderland have drawn the last 3 games. So their fans will be like, why aren't we getting these over the line? Like and Burnley keep drawing 0-0 as well. So there are other people in this league dropping points all over the place.
Yeah.
But suddenly you can look at our defeat in midweek and a win today, and it's the same as Sunderland's last 3 games. They've got 3 points from them. It's fine to lose games as long as you just churn over the wins against some crap teams in this league.
I think as well the difference with Leeds compared to maybe some of the other teams in the division is we've looked brilliant for the most part defensively, which if we'd been blowing teams away 5-1, 4-1, 3 winning games 3-2 and stuff at the start of the season, you'd maybe be a bit more worried in that last 10, 15 games. But if the defensive performances that we're having now can continue, then it gets to like March time and you're pretty comfortable.
What I will say in relation to the ongoing Bielsa hangover and widows of Bielsa thing, it's like there were so many games under Bielsa where it was frustrating, or you were on your wit's end thinking, come on, put this one to bed. And it didn't quite happen, and we would sneak some games over the line. There were some really rip-roaring victories in there along the way. Of course there were. But I think because we got that great memory of going up and then finishing 9th, you sort of distill it back into I only remember the good bits about getting promoted.
Yeah. No, there definitely was. I think maybe the key difference is that being in the stadium, there was a sizzle to that season that there maybe isn't now. Like, even if there were frustrating games, you left them sort of at your wit's end one way or another.
But that was because we were approaching it from an existential point of view, right? This is a purely financial thing. It's a transactional. Get out of this division, sort the finances out. That's what needs to happen. It's a financial imperative that underpins this. Whereas under Bielsa, it was we just cannot get this monkey off our back. We can't get out of this division. It's been 15, 16 years. So it's different. This is more functional and robotic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today was fine. It was just, we could have probably battered them a lot more than we did. But at the same time, yeah, we used to batter teams 1-0 in the Championship under Bielsa. There was the period of that Bristol City game that we just mentioned, that was a 1-0 hammering. Then I remember we played Reading the week after. We won 1-0. But in like the 96th minute, man, Liam Moore, I remember him getting into the box and nearly scoring, and how different everything could have felt if you hadn't done that. But yeah, I mean, we're the best defensive team in the division. We should be the best attacking team.
We've got the best goal difference.
It's just going to take maybe Largy Ramazani's probably missed more than we realised that he would be.
Does it just need just that little bit of sparkle, maybe?
Yeah, it's what made us so good last year was the individual brilliance, which we haven't had. I think Nanto, since the last international break, hasn't been the player that we perhaps thought he was before it. But
yeah, I think Nanto was our obvious best player up to that break, and he's been sort of middle of the road since then. Still fine, but just not.
You can't
just not turning games by himself.
It's just a long season. It's just a big old grind.
And you just need someone else to take up the slack.
I mean, look at
when these things happen.
Look at how tired we all were at the end of last season. And then it was the playoffs that all rolled. It's just like, just get it over with. Nobody needs a 46-game season at all. And now, just when you build the momentum, you've got another international break. But we're going into the international break. Well, we should be top by all rights. We're one bounce at Sunderland away from being top of this division as it stands right now tonight. So we can't have any complaints, can we? We would have been on 31 points from 15 games, more than 2 points per game. Just keep grinding them out, keep doing it. Because despite what you might think, I think we're just trying to approach this and talk about it in a measured way. But I am happy. It's just in a kind of good.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with it. It's just not. It's not a game you can come away from buzzing, is it? Because it's not been competitive as well, I think, is the difference.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a lack of opposition.
When you come away from it's like if you watch a boxing match that's really one-sided, but someone wins on points, and you go, well, it's obvious they've won.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it feels like we're winning on points every week. There's no you want in a knockout, or you want in a bit of a proper scrap where like someone's been down and they get up and they win. Whereas it feels like there's not enough of that maybe this season. It's just like, we just chip away at them, just jab, 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 jab.
Or the other thing you look for is what I was talking about before, those big tackles going in, or you go, go on, or a bit of needle. And there's none of that either.
No.
I think so maybe that's just a wider football problem.
Yeah, possibly. Bring back violence, that's what you're saying?
Bring back violence on the terraces and on the pitch.
Okay.
That's what I'm after.
That's the atmosphere thing as well. I mean, if that was Burnley, we'd beaten 2-0 at home, people would have been up for it.
Yeah.
More jeopardy.
When you compare it to the Sheffield United game, which, although it was a Friday night and everything that comes with, under the lights and stuff, that was really great atmosphere-wise, performance, everything. It's just, it's the second worst team in the Championship that we're beating 2-0 at home, so it's great. But
officially now the worst team in the Championship.
Well, congratulations, QPR.
Yeah, and
thank you for your attendance
as well, contextually, because it's just the early to mid part of the season.
Yeah,
a home game is fairly inconsequential at this point. If we know we've got 3 games left and we need 6 points from them to go up, that feels huge, and we come in here with a completely different perspective on it, and we're like, right, that's a massive win. We've done it. It's kind of wasn't brilliant, but it's enough, and we're almost there now. But as it is, it's November, and you go, it's fine. It was fine, and it was fine.
All good. Where's your optimism? You're on the optimism, Michael Optimism scale.
I think we're probably going up again. I know we weren't in midweek, but we are now.
Yeah.
No, but I even after Millwall, I would have thought we'd be still up there.
Actually, you can apply the same, I'm going to use air quotes here, but problem to that Millwall game as you can to today. People saying, are you not satisfied enough? Equally, I wasn't very disappointed midweek. I was like, it's fine, we've got loads of games to go. We'll probably win on Saturday, and we'll just continue to cement our place in the top 2, and that's fine. We don't need to lose our shit about losing to Millwall. We don't need to lose our shit about beating QPR 2-0. It's all good. Baby, baby, baby. No?
Yeah, okay.
So where were we on the optimism scale? We're going up.
Yeah, we're going up.
Michael's officially said it. Would you back that with a bet?
No. We're favourites, aren't we?
All right.
That'd be stupid to do. I'll back against it. I'll lay it off all day long. But but we are favourites for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Did you see the QPR song? Did you catch that early doors? How shit must you be? It's only 1-0, which made me chuckle.
There was a really, really drunk bloke singing Jonathan Special We Lose Every Week on the way out on the way back to the car park, but you could barely tell what he was saying. He was absolutely leathered. But he was kind of being allowed to just get on with his business.
So we're all optimistic, but quietly. Keeping a lid on it now.
Oh, Cardiff back in the bottom 3. That's a shame.
Oh, what happened to them today?
They lost, didn't they?
At home to Blackburn.
Mm.
It was on the ground beforehand.
Middlesbrough have pumped Luton. They're in deep trouble.
He's going to get sacked, isn't
He'll get sacked, and if they had any sense, they'd put Mark Robbins in.
he? Yeah.
But do you know what? I don't care.
No, not really.
No. Because all this is beneath us.
League One losers, aren't they, down there?
It'd be great if they didn't sack him until after Leeds beat them on the 27th. Hopefully.
Yes, that is true.
Mm. Yeah, we don't need a new manager bounce, do we?
Definitely not.
No.
Which
absolutely
Coventry had, by the looks of it, actually. So well done for sacking
not. Or is it
him.
a lack of manager bounce?
Yeah, I have no idea who was in charge. Let's say it was Kobe Jones.
Right.
Probably.
Your
Gordon
favourite
Strachan.
American? Your favourite of the Americans?
Yeah, very much so.
Right. We will wrap up the match ball there, but overall, I think don't mistake a nice even tone for anybody being upset or unhappy with a victory. It was a very nice victory.
It's fine, wasn't it?
I enjoyed it.
It was good. It just wasn't flames in the chat good.
Right. There we go. That is time up on the match ball. Cheers for joining us on the stream. You can check out the audio version in the members feed for extra time, some bonus chat. Where we'll go absolutely fucking nuts in that. Shall we? Go absolutely bananas.
Got some stuff about the linesman.
If you want to get a membership, we do appreciate the support. Head to thesquareball.net/plus. We are going to chat to Graham Smith, actually. It was mentioned in the comments there. Are we going to talk about Steinson moving upstairs to the 49ers? We'll have a word with Graham about that, and also about Junior Firpo's suspension as well. So we've got to keep some of the good material back, haven't we? Got to keep some of the good material back. But do look out for some more. It will probably be bollocks on extra time.
We need an additional Baldman in to speak about Steinson.
But qualified.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we're going to chat to Graham shortly. That'll be out on Monday as well. We appreciate you tuning in for this one, and we will see you soon. Bye.
The Match Ball.